basically 2 minutes off his PB, and that's still some. Sorry, I'm sorry. That would be sub 39. He can lose 3 minutes off his PB and get to sub 40. So
yeah,
the world record's kind of good. It's okay. It's not bad. It's actually disgusting.
Yeah. So Squall does have his work cut out for him, but it is a race. Anything can happen, and as we've been saying, Squall has been practicing, and Cake's been playing Shantae, which might just confuse his muscle memory and judgment of physics and whatnot.
Yeah. I'd say of all the people who have been great at this game, Cake is probably the one who's able to get back into it the fastest. But he's still also out of practice, so who knows? Anything could happen here. But Squall is going to have to really show up if he wants to go for the upset.
Yeah, now I think Cake got better bird color RNG though, so that's
obviously red bird, that's like, what, 4% faster?
It's gonna help him out a little bit here. However, Squall is, according to the video, Squall is slightly ahead. I guess his timer is a little ahead too, though.
I think what happens is that CakeSauc didn't set his timer to 0 seconds.
Okay, I was wondering about that.
Yeah, because it looks like it's about 1.4 seconds behind if I were to estimate, which is, people use somewhere between -1 to -2 seconds based on their initial load time with this game, just so their RTA matches when they start. But for racing, we've been starting with 0.
Cake. That's gonna be 1 strike on his official record.
If we get enough strikes on him, do we get to delete his time from the leaderboard so we can do better than him for once?
I was just gonna say DQ from the tournament. That's brutal.
DQ him, give us a chance. We need it. We're desperate at this point.
So they're both at these portals now. These portals will come into play a couple times. As you kill enemies on them, the portal loses health, and a few of the times you get a neat little reward at the end.
Yeah, you get the new power-up on this portal. You get your flutter jump. Flutter jump's a lot of fun because its momentum and just movement is so much different than regular jump, and you can use it either before or after regular jump as well. Really adds a lot of flavor to this game's platforming.
And then here's where you immediately use the flutter, where the game teaches you that sometimes you have to flutter before you jump. So it's a really interesting part of this game's platforming, where like you have you don't quite just have a double jump, you have 2 different kinds of jumps, and sometimes it's better to use one before the other, which is just super fun. And man, like that little room where you just do those 2 little jumps, it took me an hour the first time. I like left the room and went exploring again to see if I missed something. I could not figure out how to do that jump. You couldn't
figure it out. The flutter could happen before jump. I've seen that happen multiple times. People just don't get it. It forces you to learn so the rest of the game makes sense.
Yep.
Oh, I feel bad for Cake. Look at that camping fire guy just sitting there in the corner, toasting marshmallows, having a good time. That costs him so much time. You really can't deal with the RNG of these guys sometimes. You can dip below the platform, flutter, and kill them, but in doing so, if they're not close enough, they might just knock you into the abyss. You have to restart the portal. It's not worth it if they're too far away.
Yeah, now, sometimes if you're in a spot where the camera follows you, like it does right now, you can jump, and that kind of forces them to move up a little bit, but on those portals, the camera's locked, and it doesn't quite work.
They just do what they want, and you just sort of cry about it.
Yeah. Fire guys, phraselos, charers, materializers, whatever you want to call them, they're the teleporting guys, and
you got the full checklist of names. You're just like checking down marks, going down.
They are the source of many speedrunners' problems and woes. So here's Miyogi. We see a little bit of weapon variety now. So the weapons that they're using, the one that you'll see most often is this one called Greed, which does the little circle around the player. It has the highest DPS, and also it's nice that you don't have to aim it, so it's easy to take down enemies that follow you and such without having to look back at them. However,
the range is terrible.
Yes.
It's so short. So trying to follow the movement of bosses, like in their animations and their attacks without getting hit, but maintaining the weapon swinging at all times, it's actually really tricky to do that in a lot of bosses. It's the favorite weapon for any boss where it's a good weapon to use. You will see them using longer range weapons on bosses where the melee weapon doesn't matter, or you don't need as much damage output, or you really just can't reasonably reach with this weapon.
Cake Taz platforms, one of those crumbly bits.
Oh my god, Taz platform? Yeah, yeah. If you jump on like the first possible frame, the breaking platforms just kind of forget to break. That's actually useful in a later section, late in the game, but it's too hard to reasonably go for, in my opinion.
Right, yeah, exactly. I feel like if we were able to Taz this game, it would be a work of art.
Yeah.
Looks like,
I think they captured desynchronized slightly.
Now I forgot who it even happened to. I think Squall... Yeah, Squall took kind of an unfortunate death there, but they're still right neck and neck. It was a small death that Squall took.
Yeah.
Right after a checkpoint. And here we go. Now we're rethinking.
This is where we were just talking about. People are using slightly longer range weapons just because you can't really reach with Greed. So he's using Envy here, which is like the default weapon, but it has more sustained damage over time and less burst damage. This is kind of poor RNG on Cake's side with the attack selection. You might have to go for a lot of extra attacks here. Oh, yep. Well, it looks like they got the same RNG, so no complaining here. Evenly matched.
Yeah, it's interesting that on a first playthrough, you kind of realize pretty quickly that you can't tank the bosses and that you have to dodge their attacks and get the damage in when you can and that kind of stuff to not die. But then when it comes to speedrunning, it turns out that you do just tank the first boss. And,
yeah. I mean, using your HP as a resource as smartly as you can is a huge thing of doing bosses in this game, and it makes some risky bosses very scary when you need to use your HP to just speed it up by 10 seconds or so, but like one mistake can cause you to die instead of having room to make a bunch. Keike's having some trouble following Skip right here. He's trying to hit the very corner of this little bounding box that defines this auto-scroller area. If he hits the very, very corner of it, you get the physics you would have if you were doing that auto-scroller, but you also get to escape it at the same time. But both of them got bad falling skip, which means that they over-jumped, and they don't get it. So it's a bit slower than having the free-falling flying physics and being able to go to a higher part of the level earlier. It saves about 12 seconds, I think?
Yeah, it's a little easier to understand what's happening this way, though. This way they just skip
if you haven't done it.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you don't even know what the following section that they're skipping is.
Now, it looks like they have controller lag. Does Squall play on a controller?
Squall's always played on controller, so what CakeSauc did to match up his RTA load times with Squall is that he plugged in a controller and he's still playing on keyboard. Right. And it doesn't actually matter about the run too much. We use in-game time for fairness, but yeah, maybe Keiko was having trouble following skip because he's not used to the slight increase in loading times.
Right, yeah, that's what happened to me.
As for why a controller increases loading times, don't ask me. It's something about third-party plugin.
You can ask Solgren, but he'll just respond with a shrug emote.
Yeah, honestly. That's what he's always done.
So you'll see both the players here are skipping checkpoints, and the reason is so that whoa, and Cake is going for like extra swag, or not even swag, but it saves time. Damage boosting off of one of the electric balls.
That's so actually really hard.
Yeah. And that means that you have to automatically fight Electram with 35 less health, so...
The reason that damage boost is so hard is because you can't just get a maximum height out of your jumps. You need to jump out with really good timing and gain your height quickly, because if you don't re-jump the instant your feet touch ground, you get hit by another ball and go into the boss with 30 HP. And sometimes based on this boss's patterns, you want to take damage to kill him quickly.
Yeah, and the reason that they want to skip the checkpoints is because after this boss, they're going to have to backtrack back to town, and it's faster to death warp back if you didn't take the checkpoints on the way. But, checkpoints refill health, so it's risky.
A pretty decently evenly matched race so far. Cake is ahead for now.
Yeah, by just a few seconds here, and so now they have ranged attacks. And, that will come into play a lot, well, just for the whole rest of the game. I mean, they have ranged attacks now. You can shoot them 8 directions, and they're good.
They don't do much damage. They only do 1 damage a shot, and how many you can fire is limited by a sort of recharging clip. There are a couple bosses in the game, though, where you're really using it to chip in as much extra damage as you can, or the boss is just completely immune to your melee weapon.
Yeah, and that happens a couple times.
We'll point it out when it happens.
What's interesting is that I think that the Orbs of Purity get a lot more use, or a lot more focus in the Sinister Grotto.
Yeah, because it's used for platforming puzzles where you're shooting switches to temporarily get rid of instant kill lasers. So it's really nice how the attacks integrate into the platforming, so you're just kind of multitasking so many things with like both jumps, your flutter, shooting. Cake's trying to go for a cycle here, because his goal is to damage boost off a rotating blade rather than using an inconsistent enemy. But in doing so, Yeah, its cycle of rotation is really, really important. Yeah, he wants to land on it when it's pointing down, let it rotate into him. He actually got hit by the bug before the blade came back and rotated, which is good because he takes less damage, making the rest of this section safer. Since you're skipping so many checkpoints here and you want to save enough HP to tank this rotating blade, otherwise, if the bugs are really aggressive, they can knock you into the instant kill chainsaw.
Yeah, and the bugs do like 15 damage and the blade does 35. Yeah. And
wait,
either way you get...
so close. Is banned in cave skip?
Yeah, Cake only goes for Troll Cave Skip once, and if he doesn't get it, he just does the cave.
Huh. Cave Skip saves like 12 seconds. I think if you're good at it, it's worth trying again and getting it on second try for sure.
I think so, too.
Slide over the top of the cave. Is he not confident in his own ability to do Cave Skip? I mean, it's hard, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard.
Squall got it, so he's actually catching up significantly.
Yeah, wow, yeah, right. Squall getting the skip caught him right up.
The reason cave skip's hard is because you're not supposed to even be able to get hit in the doorway. The rock thrower throws the rock and it would explode in the wall. You're actually leaving the screen so the rock forgets to check for collision, and then you re-enter with perfect timing, and if you do that, most of the time, if the rock was on the correct angle, which usually happens, you can get hit by it when it's crossing the doorway. And then once you've done that, you need to do one of the trickier damage boosts in the run.
Yeah, and it gets you up to that little pathway up above, which is meant for backtracking through the cave, but you can use it as safe passage through the first way. Alright, so now the players are on Amethyst. The neat thing about this fight, besides just the cool, like, elemental variety attacks, is that when she does this big skull death beam, the fight actually speeds up afterward, and all of her attacks become faster. And she does the beam twice during the fight, so after the second one, the attacks become really, really fast. This, like, purple ball attack, she starts spawning 3 balls instead of 2, which she technically does in the second phase as well. Or, like, these platforms come out super fast on the third phase.
Yeah, if she does bad angles here, it can be really hard to catch them before they disappear.
Yeah, my strategy for really fast ice platforms is just to only go for every other one.
Squall!
Oh no, Squall was just practicing Amethyst and he died at the end!
It's because he did cave skip, he wanted to skip the save before the boss, and he probably went in with 60 HP, right?
You know, I didn't see if he went in with 60 HP.
Because generally people try and skip the save before the boss, which lets them reset out to the save before the cave. But when you do cave skip, you often get hit by a second rock when you're crossing over the ceiling, and you go into the boss to clear low HP.
Now he's having a little bit of trouble recreating the troll cave skip as well. Okay, he got the skip again. This time he dodged the rock. I feel like he probably dodged the rock the first time.
Yeah, I guess he just died the Amethyst. That's really unfortunate.
Now we know why he was practicing him before.
This isn't the boss where you tank anything, because you can only deal 16 damage with an attack anyway. It's mostly just about survival and making sure you don't miss damage. And even if you miss damage, you can miss up to 11 damage and still kill her on the same attack she would usually die on.
Right, because you can deal 16 damage to her per phase, but her health isn't exactly.
And she dies with like 5 HP left if you have perfect damage, so you can miss 11. Yikes. Well, Cake is progressing smoothly enough. I really feel bad for Squall though. You could see him, like, you could see the frustration, like, just visibly through the game with him just taking a minute to, like, you know, restart and try again.
Yeah, whenever somebody lingers on the defeat screen for a second.
You know, they've got that, like, mental defeated IRL.
Or sometimes you're just recollecting yourself, you know?
Yeah.
I've certainly had it where it's like, I die to a really dumb checkpoint a couple times, and then you just gotta sit there for a second and just be like, you know, you can do it. I know I can do the checkpoint. You just gotta, like, get it out of your head that it's your second try, and just get it into your head that it's just another time that you have to fight Amethyst, you know? Alright, takes it on this time with ease. I mean, he only got hit one time in that fight that time, so... There we go.
Dark Annihilator. This is, as we mentioned earlier, one of those bosses that's immune to your melee attack, so you just use your orbs. You do need to save your melee attack to kill some things he spawns, because he spawns bombs that if you don't destroy them, will carpet the ground in green fire that doesn't go away. And once he gets mad, he's going to start spawning bots from the other side of the screen that will fly and heal him if you don't destroy them.
So you'll see the players using Lust on this fight because the bombs only have 1 HP and the missiles have 2 HP.
Yeah.
So Lust does 2 damage, but it has the most range of the fight. So it's really easy to take those down using Lust without using your orbs because you want to save your orbs to damage the boss.
You can't really mash down the boss or anything since you're limited by your clip and how often your bullets refresh. So as long as you're firing often enough that you don't max out your clip, and you're saving every single orb by using your melee weapon to destroy things, you get the boss dead as fast as possible.
Yeah. And Cake making it look easy. Meanwhile, Squall making it through the old spider checkpoint. We'll see if he does the spawn strat here. He does! When you hit a checkpoint, it kills all the enemies on the screen, so a common strategy on that checkpoint is to go a little bit ahead to spawn the plants in the next room, and then go back and hit the checkpoint.
Which destroys them all instantly. Cake can sometimes one-cycle that room for damage boost up before the laser comes back up, but it's actually pretty tricky. Alright, Cake's skipping all the saves as usual. The saves here aren't really that slow to get, but they're just slightly out of the way that the platform is simple enough that it's just faster not to take any of them.
Yeah, and once you've skipped them enough times, you start to expect the cycle.
Yeah. And you see Squall doing it too on the way to the boss, just because it's not worth the time it takes to go over and grab it unless you're hurt and you want to be safe before the boss and heal up. But he is, as expected, skipping them both.
Yeah, he's only missing 15 HP. Probably shouldn't be an issue for Dark Annihilator. It's an interesting mental game you have to play, though, where it's like, if you've died to Amethyst, do you think you should go for a safety strat and make sure that you get the checkpoint here, or do you go, I really need to catch up, I need to save every second I can?
Well, I'd say that he's got nothing more to lose at this point, so he better go fast, right?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with skipping the checkpoint when you're only missing 15 HP. No question.
Yeah. If you're missing 50 because you took a mine, give it some thought. You might want to take it safe.
I would take it at that point.
I'd consider skipping it, but during a race, you just take the save so you don't lose almost 2 minutes by dying to the boss and teleporting several saves back.
Yeah. Alright, Cake's going to be making his way to Terravine now, which is a boss that it will very much showcase the greed weapon, and this is a boss that doesn't limit your damage, so as long as you are good at avoiding the attacks and dealing damage at the same time, you can really take this down fast. And one way that really shows just how fast you're taking it down versus how fast you're kind of expected to is that the gimmick of this boss is that every 3 attacks he does this big face laser that you have to interrupt by throwing a minecart at him, or it will instant kill you. It will do 100 damage to you and kill you in 1 shot. But you're given 3 minecarts, but with greed and with good damage, you can take him down so fast that you actually can just throw all 3 of them at once at him, and he didn't even get to the second laser.
What's notable there is that on that multiple lasers attack that came last, CakeSauc3 was saving his HP to tank on that attack for extra damage output, and he didn't even get to that attack. He killed him before it.
Yeah.
Lasers last is the worst RNG on the boss, unfortunately, but it's only a very small difference in time.
Right. The best thing you can get is Spores last, but it
Which
seems
never happens.
Yeah,
Why
it seems to never happen.
1 out of 6, more like 1 out of 60. Don't get it. Alright, Cake just stumbled on the platform, so he's just getting the mental reset and just going back to the save. Cake started slowing down and like making sure that sometimes like that flying enemy behind him, the con thing. He said that some runs, if he's really on good pace, he'll just slow down and kill that guy before proceeding, because he's just scared that the fire guy's going to teleport in his face and everything's going to go wrong and he's going to fall off and lose 10 seconds on a really good run.
Yeah.
Safety strats to preserve his good pace if he needs to.
Yeah, and that's what we were talking about earlier, that the teleporting fire guy enemies are just... They can teleport in your face and interrupt your jumps if you don't take them out right away, but also if you do try to take them out right away, they can teleport out of the way, and they're a nightmare.
So now we got dash flings. These are a lot of fun. It's an 8-way dash. The amount you can do is based on the consumables. Once you gather one, you can do a dash if you haven't gotten hit recently. but it uses the same button as your flutter, so you have to use it before your flutter. And there's actually kind of a glitch, since the flutter is sort of based on your current momentum. You can actually flutter during a dash and add extra vertical height to your flutter, but since fluttering cancels your dash, you need to time it so you flutter at the very, very end, and that's used for a skip later.
Oh, okay. Nice.
That was a little close to the spikes, but he did get that. That's like actually a little 2-second skip. Goes around some platforming.
Squall is working on Terravine here, making short work of him. Oh, Squall also got lasers last.
Wow.
But still killed him before the first laser even shot.
Yeah, good damage.
Yeah, excellent Terravine fight.
Oh, rocks first. Did he get a good setup? Can he 5-rock this? Oh, I think that was all 5. That was a really good play. Rocks first is really hard to react to because their spawns are based on your position and your momentum, so to make it possible to hit all 5 of them back at his face, you need like a good setup for it, or else it's spawning really far behind you. But Cake reacted to it quickly and got a good setup and played well. I think he missed 1 rock though, because the rock's pushing back really far. It's really easy for a rock to hit the ground and look like it hit the boss and not do damage. So maybe he missed like rock 3 or 4, which is really not really his fault, because rocks first tends to give you bad spawn locations, and it sort of cuts the phase shorter than it needs to be. The best RNG is rocks last, and rocks in the middle of the phase just really blows.
Yeah. Right, because the way that you have to...
He'll get rocks first here again, which will let him finish the boss off faster. He is not blessed. He is slow.
At least the spawns are a lot faster in this phase than they are in the first, though.
Oh yeah, it takes like no time for that attack to finish.
Then there's rocks, but he doesn't need them at this point. Is he gonna do dash skip? Nope. I don't know if you know about that one.
I feel like I'm out on a meme here.
If you hit reset, just so that the portal out of the Crateract fight spawns underneath V's corpse, you will respawn on the other side of the portal without having to watch the animation.
That's actually new to me. Considering I've double killed on the boss and still killed it, I feel like I should know this. But apparently I'm just completely unobservant, so I have learned something new, thank you.
I did it by accident. Say again? I'm sorry, say again?
How much time does that save?
Oh, I don't know, a second.
Good. Hey, a second's a second.
It's like super high risk though, because you have to know exactly when the portal's gonna spawn, and V's corpse is only shown for like, you know, a half a second.
Maybe this is the bad skip then. Maybe we should not do that.
You have to redo a boss if you miss it.
Alright, Cake's progressing smoothly. He's kind of about an area ahead of Squall. Squall's gonna catch up the same area after Crateract, but Cake might finish this one, so Cake has a pretty sizable lead. Cake's gonna have to do a major choke, like his own boss death, for Squall to have a chance to catch up here. But you know, the last boss in the game are infamously choky. He might just fall off an arena and die to gravity.
Yeah, I mean, this race is just getting started.
Yeah, there's still half the game left at this point.
Cake got stuck in the fog wall.
Okay, yeah, what are you going for there?
Yeah.
Is in this room, there's like 4 fire guys that spawn in the upper left corner, but since the fog wall doesn't check if you kill all the enemies, it just checks if there's on-screen enemies. You can actually just one-cycle the room and only kill 1 fire guy, but it requires good movement and damage, and if you mess up, the fog wall will respawn when you're inside of it, and you'll get stuck, and you have to reset.
Yep. The other option besides resetting is to stand in the firewall, hope that a fire guy teleports in front of you so that you can just kill it.
That first try skip kick got there, that was really close. He almost hit the fight trigger and started the boss fight.
So that was Ancient Construct skip. That's a boss back there, by the way.
Yeah, good boss fight. It took about 1 second.
How that works is, yeah, I mean, it's pretty simple. The trigger to start the boss is just a box in the middle of the screen, so you can beta conving over there and just damage boost over the trigger. The tricky part of it, though, is that you'll actually run into the boss itself, which even dormant will damage you. So if you don't do your jumps just right, it'll damage you. You'll fall into the trigger of the fight.
Yeah. What makes that skip work is really you didn't even need the height from the damage boost. You need invincibility time to get enough height and distance over the box. So by the time you get hit again, you can sort of just fall over it. All right, did Cake get the fast cycle here?
Looks like it, yeah.
Yep. When those brutes turn to face you, they'll shoot lasers at you that cause massive damage and paralyze you so you can barely move. You don't want to get shot, ever.
Yeah, because massive damage and they paralyze you, which generally means you get shot a second time.
Yeah, it's not worth it. Back before that library skip though, for Flutter Dash, we used to actually do another room of Brutes Net, and there was a tank strat on one of them, but it was really hard not to get shot twice.
It's like the Natasha from Team Fortress 2.
Oh my god, Cake is actually getting a haircut from the ceiling spikes. You see that?
Yeah, he didn't. Also, he didn't reset the cycle on this room, so the void, the one-hit kill void circles are in a weird pattern.
If people don't know, your hitbox is actually a little bit shorter than you. So your head is your hitbox, but your hair is not. And that does matter. Alright, so like I said about fog walls earlier, it just cares if the enemies are off screen, not if they're dead, so you can sort of let the skeleton hit you and fly off screen. And since their position is really based on yours, you can move towards them to push them off screen and go for the fog wall early without having to kill them both.
Yeah, and that was beautiful. He killed one of them to make it... You can bait both of them off screen. He skipped a checkpoint. He just skipped the Miyogi checkpoint.
80 HP should be enough for this boss, because if you get the skip, you don't have to do the enrage phase.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Miyogi 2 skip. So this boss has a 40-second invincible phase in the middle, after which the fight gets harder. But you can skip the middle phase. Because she gets stunned.
She goes into her enrage when she's at 40% HP. However, she gets stunned every 8 times that you hit her. And you can make those line up because also, if you hit her while she has a shield, you heal her. So using the amazing power of math, you can heal her 6 times to line up her HP just right, so that you stun her while she tries to enrage.
The window is pretty short though. They use a visual setup of this attack. People.
Oh, he missed it.
Oh. I was about to say, those bouncing rocks are your visual setup because you can see them line up with the background to get an idea of when the window is to attack. But Cake missed it. He was too late on it.
Yeah.
So he has to do the enrage phase, which means that he's doing the sort of intermediary phase, which is just, you know, slow, boring, 40 seconds long. And after this, the fight gets harder. So if he dies, he didn't take the save before the boss, it would give Squall pretty much an even race again.
Right. As you can see with how close behind Squall is and how long Cake has to stand here without being able to damage the boss, Miyogi 2 is a very pivotal part of this race.
If he's careful in dealing with the skull, I think he'll be fine, because the skull you need to hit away from you constantly or it does damage, but it's nowhere near him. I think he's going to be pretty safe here. He's playing it safe.
Yeah. I think, yeah, Cake's going to be able to handle the post-enrage Miyogi.
Yeah, he hasn't even gotten hit. He's playing really well. He's dealing with all the projectiles. Yeah, he got hit once. He's good. Squall's chances in the gutter. Ah, Cake was so close to the lava. I thought he was going to hit it.
Squall's chances, if he gets Miyogi 2 skip, then he's 40 seconds ahead.
He can catch up.
Yeah.
Not the full length, but he gets to catch up significantly.
Right.
By the way, little known fact. There's no way this is lava. It doesn't look like lava. My theory is that it's a big pot of boiling tomato juice because we're making the biggest pasta.
Yeah, it's spaghetti. I've always said it's spaghetti sauce.
Yeah, spaghetti sauce.
It looks like they're making some SpaghettiOs.
100% confirmed, actual, real deep lore. If you want more deep lore, subscribe to Deep Lore Facts, and we'll text you deep lore every 30 minutes. Alright, can Cake enter the password?
Oh!
He entered the password the same every run! How did he do it?
First try. First try.
First try.
It's gonna be hard for Squall to keep up with that, but
how can Squall possibly enter a stationary password? I just don't know.
I think Squall is gonna be able to do it, but it's gonna take a lot of mental energy. I think Squall is prepared for it.
Okay, Dash, off the top of your head, what's the password? No looking, no cheat.
121312.
There you go. Easy. I was fast enough I would be able to say. I don't remember the numbers. My fingers just remember what to do.
Right,
I don't look at the solution in the room.
I had to think about it for a second. I had to think about how my fingers move in my head, and then
to remember what and try to
translate that
to numbers. Yeah. You still spit out those numbers of impressive speed. We've been talking about the password. Did Squall miss Miyogi skip? Yeah, looks like.
Unfortunate, yeah. So yeah, both players missed Miyogi skip, so that doesn't give either player a 40-second advantage there. Squall also looking very good on health, though, so...
Yeah,
I mean,
he's super safe here.
Ooh, and Cake took a pretty brutal platforming death right there.
Yeah, that was a huge time loss. What he's going for here is he's trying not to kill the skeletons. It takes time to slow down and kill them, but you can push them both off screen at the same time. If you set the Centaur to sort of jump into the abyss, because your last known grounded position was a breaking platform that broke, he attempts to jump to your last grounded position, so he just flings himself wildly into the floor.
Yeah, that room happens to be full of a bunch of enemies that you don't have to kill, just for varying reasons. But okay, he gets it through on the second try. Moving on his way to the Twin Orcs. Squall took out Miyogi 2 post and rage, so... Yeah, both players were even on their Miyogi 2 performances, so now we'll see how they deal with Twin Orcs. CakeSauc is going for the quick kill. You can explain quick kill better than I can.
Yeah, you're just trying to fight them off platform, because when you dodge their attacks, you can just dip below, so you can stay within weapon range the entire time to get a good flutter height. The problem with doing the quick kill is that the timing can be a bit tight, and you take a lot of damage on red phase if you get bad RNG on the angles of the spike balls. So you need to save as much HP as possible and play well, because any missed flutter height when you're trying to get extra damage, you might flutter up into the weapon's handle and take extra damage. Cake's kind of low on HP here, but he's definitely gotten it. Really clean damage the whole time. He followed the movement very, very well.
Yeah, that was a perfect quick kill.
He also finished off purple from range, so they wouldn't transition into the enrage attack. So red would just sort of try and jump back to the side while purple starts reviving, but he finished off red really well too.
Squall's coming up to password room.
Oh, can Squall enter a password?
What a god!
Insane.
Oh man! Both these
enter
players.
The password. High quality runners right here. It takes like 30 seconds to learn how to do that strat where you enter the password correctly. It's actually so completely high intensive skill.
Alright, so Cake is on the path of DK now. Meanwhile, Squall is making his way through the chambers and will be on the Twin Orcs as soon as possible. The path of decay is just... It puts all your platforming to the test. I mean, it's got difficult combat, difficult platforming, puzzly platforming, spikes all over the place.
Cake, don't do it. Cake went for double touch.
Yep.
He went for double touch, and he's probably going to do the safe strat this time, where he goes back to the left. You
yeah,
hit that heart twice, but the angle to fall onto the last platform there is way harder than it looks, because if you hold left early, you touch the wall, it robs you of your horizontal momentum, and you can't make it onto the platform.
Yes. What's funny is that's the strat that I did on my blind playthrough. Like, that's just how I found out how to do it. I didn't understand the idea of going back to the original platform. I
went back to the left, but instead of going back the way I came, I went around the bottom. Which is super jank. It worked! Okay.
Alright, so Squall is, he's doing an interesting strategy on this room where he wasn't going pacifist, but he also wasn't slowing down to kill the skeletons. He just killed them as he platformed, so that was really cool.
Yeah, I like it. Cake's probably gotta do fast bone snake too, which just looks amazing. Because the goal is that you have to hit this heart 4 times, but you can sort of hit it early the last time, and you see that wall at the end to the right there? It collapses in order from top down. You can actually hit it while it's collapsing and land on it to get your jumps back.
Right there. Oof. Oh, that's so cool.
That was so close. It almost disappeared under him. That was spooky.
Remember, because of the way that this game's jumps work, though, not you, Shark, but just in general, that even if a platform does disappear under you, you can still jump.
Yeah, as long as you retouched your ground at some point, and you got your jumps back. Oh, Cake's having trouble in the meatball section. He skipped a save, too.
Oh, he's doing this weird strat, too, where you go up and into that thing. I guess
How have I not known about that? It looks like your hitbox can't make it, but I didn't know you could squeeze that corner.
I love the way that he just jumps into this section as well without taking the save. He did die once, though, and had to...
He paid for it.
This room's interesting because you actually do have to hover and double tap a heart.
Mm-hmm.
So, Cake used to use Rainbow Trail. I wonder why he doesn't have that on. Alright, we'll see how he handles Brute Room.
He's gonna one-cycle it, yeah.
Yep, beautiful.
Okay, good flutter pace.
You know, I was on that checkpoint the other day, and I was like, how do the pros do it? Like this, and just like did it my first try, but then I haven't been able to do it since. Alright, so
on the Azrael fight.
Yeah, Azrael is a wonderful fight. So, as you damage her, she builds up this blue shield, and if the blue shield gets too large, it turns red, and she becomes invulnerable for as long as she has that red shield as it dies down. The blue shield dies down faster than the red one does, so you do more damage if you do just enough damage to her to keep her shield blue and to not turn it red. Meanwhile, she does all kinds of crazy crap around the stage. She summons these portals that have skeleton grabby hands in them. She summons this other kind of portal that has this other kind of skeleton grabby hand in it. She drops platforms from under you. She shoots these shards at you that have this crazy pattern to them that is more difficult to dodge than it looks because of just how much screen space those things end up covering. And on top of all that, she also spawns these rings of red shards around you that have one gap in them, so the easiest way to get around them is to go into demon form, and they close in the next time that you hit the attack button. So you go into demon form, move toward the gap, hit the attack button, and you'll dodge it that way. If you're really pro like Shark, you can
there's a lot of value in dodging them without demon form because it lets you save it to dodge later ones, or just like have more clean or more movement options. Because if you're dodging them with the demon form, you might just lose out on potential damage output because your shield might go all the way down.
Yep.
Alright, Cake's coming up at the end of the game here. Just one short platforming section and 2 bosses. I'd say the last 2 bosses are probably the hardest to do fast in speedrun. They have the most room to flex your execution and do it quickly. Cake is a master of using the Envy weapon on the next boss, which is far shorter range than most people are accustomed to on the boss. And it's really hard to use it since he wiggles a lot. He bonks his head into you. He knees you if you get close. It's really easy to get hit, and he sort of will waver back and forth when he's thinking to try and like handle the guy's movement and not get kneed in the face.
Yeah, most players
is also pretty variable.
Most players will use Lust because it's safer, but Cake is one of those who he has a very strong J1 fight, and
you have to hit the boss in the chest. That's his only weak point. So you have to like fly up towards his chest since he's so tall and hit him at just the very edge of the range and constantly move back and forth to deal with how he's moving as well. That's the best RNG. Why is Cake always okay? I'm just a little salty.
That's the main way to deal damage to him, though. Besides just meleeing him in the chest, is that when he throws out these spikes, you can break them and blow them back into him. And that's really where the most of your damage is coming from.
Headshots are more damage, by the way. And he's getting multiple, one headshot at least.
Yeah, so it's really important to get him with multiple spikes if you can, and then if you can get him in the head with those spikes, they do more damage as well. So triple headshots are, a sight to behold. And okay.
Headshots, he's good.
One in the eyes, one in the gob, but he didn't even need the third spike.
Cake took a lot of damage just to maintain his damage output there, because you can't really predict when you're going to get headbutted, and you saw him like dodging the knees just barely and going back in to get his damage back up. So really good execution on the fight. It was better because he got really good RNG to get the breakable spikes first, which really helped out, but honestly, that was great execution on the fight. It was a good kill.
Yeah. Squall's working on Azrael here, while Cake is going to make his way to the final boss, which is... Oh, it's a good one.
There's a lot going on because you're constantly taking damage. You need to gather healing orbs to mitigate that damage. In addition to that, this really is a fight about following his movement perfectly, hitting him in the weak point, and using your health as a resource to kill him quickly. Your goal with the first part of the fight is to get him below 40% on the second dive, this being the first, so you can enrage him at a good time.
Yeah, so when he dives, you got to go to the side of the platform that has that ice shard in it and stand on it so that you get him to dive into that. But his dive is really, really fast, so you have to time your slide away just in time to get him to go into the ice shard, but also not get hit by him.
Can I just say, Cake is really good damage pacing for the fact they got the worst RNG up in the screen position.
Oh, yeah. When the boss goes down and does his, like, big scream attack, that will kill you in one hit if you don't go into Ira's shield. And so if he... The first time that she puts up a shield, she always puts it on the left platform. So if he's hanging out on the left side, you can just sit there and wail on him for a second. Okay, he's tanking the laser.
That's intentional. It gets you a lot more damage on that attack. Because you have to go under the platform to dodge it otherwise. You still have lots of health to work with. This is a very good kill pacing.
Oh yeah, on top of everything else that's going on in this fight, you also have to remember that if you just unload all of your orbs into his face, you're actually doing less damage than if you spread them out.
Yeah, because the damage pulses, and if you overwrite the pulse, it doesn't add extra damage. You need to sort of carefully spread them at the perfect pacing for good damage.
That was an amazing fight.
That was so fast! He tanked you in the enrage. He made that look so free, so easy, and so safe. He was dodging bubbles going at crazy slanted angles, and he wasn't even turning left going off platform to dodge them. He just found the ways to jump through them, even though they're going at 45 degrees.
Yep. Cake making it look easy.
Flexed on that boss, dude.
Mm-hmm.
That was really, really good. Just everything about that was completely clean. He made it look so easy. Dash, how long did it take you to do the boss first playthrough?
J2, it took me... Yeah. I don't know how long, but it was more than 350 tries.
6 hours for me.
Yeah, it was a long time. And I knew things about the boss going into it as well, because I had seen people play it. Oh my gosh, triple headshot though on Squall. So Squall is making his way through J1 now. Beautiful, beautiful triple headshot there. But it looks like we also have Cake here in the commentary lounge. How you doing, and how did that run go?
Felt like it went alright. What do you guys think?
I mean, you know, it went alright. Sub 40, no big deal.
Yeah, no big deal. I mean, I made a lot of mistakes, so...
But you didn't have any major chokes outside missing M2. You didn't have any, like, real boss deaths or anything. It really shows that almost anything can happen on a run, and you could still make it happen under 40 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, so I felt kind of dumb, I guess, because I didn't practice the controller load times enough for following Skip today.
Yeah,
and I thought I was going to be fine, but that messed up.
Yeah,
so that was too bad.
That got me yesterday as well.
It's a tough one for sure. And then I messed up the last key in Underworld. I got stuck in the wall.
Yeah,
that was funny.
That hurt to watch.
Your J2 kill though was like textbook
disgusting.
Perfect.
What was that? How did you
gorgeous.
get so much damage on right screen? You just must manage the pulse so well.
Yeah, I think I just have a really good rhythm for shooting my orbs.
Your rhythm's slower than most, but really consistent. I think that's the key to like your damage output, because you had them below 45% going into the last dive on right side screen. It was really optimized.
Oh my gosh, Squall took that way too.
Yeah, he almost got screamed there. That basically almost instantly kills you.
Yeah. Alright, there's his pre-enrage laser tank to make sure that he's gonna get the fast enrage.
A lot of people tank that laser if they get the right side screen to make sure they can get him under 40% down this dive.
So brutal though! He slid away too fast, and so J2 went into the center after the dive, which is really, really hard to dodge. And on top of that, he was on top of a health orb, so Squall missed 2 health orbs, or maybe he went and got the other one.
He's
he
still
had
alive. Yeah. But one hit with John. Okay, one hit
and he just
10 damage with John.
He got thwapped by the tail.
Gotta watch out for the tail.
Yeah, it's a bad bubble pattern. Or no, he's got it because this is lasers. It's safe. He dealt with the lungs very efficiently.
Oh, he's getting the oh, okay. Whoa, that was like the weirdest kill I've ever seen. J2 was underground and he shot him in the tail. That was cool.
That was crazy.
Yeah, so that was very clutch. Squall's got a black screen here. I think he skipped the cutscene.
Oh yeah, that's the visual.
That fades in, and so he just does. That's funny.
It's a blackout.
Cake, you're using my spot. That's my teeter spot.
Oh, is that your teeter spot? Should I move?
Find a new one. Get an original teetering location for post-race. Show off your flair.
So that was an excellent race. I mean, Cake came out on top, but Squall came out with 43.44, which is also just an insanely good race time. As we expected, this race was really good, and both players just, you know, showed up and in one try on a race can just put out a really solid run. So that was great.
I didn't catch Squall's in-game time, but judging by the load times, it was probably around a minute faster than what the real time said.
Yeah, and right now it's just ticking up and we can't even see it.
Ruined. So you got anything to say, Cake?
I mean, I guess it's just too bad Solid had an Amethyst death from what I understand, and...
Yeah, you're pretty even at that point. He got skip as well, and you didn't, so he was really, like, catching up.
Yeah, I think the whole race would have looked closer the whole time without that Amethyst death, because, I mean, he was about a minute behind, I'd say, almost the entire time.
Yeah. It was
also,
rough.
I'm guessing Squall did not go for SC skip.
Correct.
No,
you'd be right about that.
Okay, good.
And we have Squall here now, so hello, Squall. Congrats on your run.
Yeah, all except for Amy. Again, Amy.
We noticed you practicing Amethyst before the run, and we were like, and Shark was like, why is he practicing Amethyst?
That's why. All three of my races, I died to her.
No, I'm sorry.
Also, I want to point out that my screen is just black. Like, the sound's there, but I'm just stuck there.
You mashed Q too fast.
I don't have...
You can still bring up your menu, but you just skip cutscenes too quickly, getting a black screen. It's a known bug.
Yeah, this screen fades in, and so if you skip the cutscene during the fade in, it doesn't fade in. But if you hit pause, you'll get your menu, and your menu won't be black.
But yeah.
So it was that.
So how do you guys feel going into the next week with the possible opponents you can get?
I'm getting Ziggy. I'm pretty sure I'm getting Ziggy, and I'm not happy about it.
That will be really close.
Yeah, Ziggy.
As long as Amy doesn't kill me.
Dude, and both of you will be used to controller loads, so it should be a nice match.
Did that throw you off anywhere, Cake?
I screwed up Veil 2 skip, or Veil Falling Skip, rather, yeah. Falling Skip. And I still feel like it messes up some other things for me, just my muscle memory, my rhythm, but it's fine.
What about Troll Cave?
That doesn't affect the cave. It never has.
It doesn't affect the cave.
That's not
Everyone wonders every time, like, oh, is Cake not doing Troll Cave skip because he doesn't like the load times? No, it's because I'm just suck at it, and if I miss it the first time, I just say screw it.
If it loaded a new area, it would take longer and heal you the full health. It's moving you in between already loaded areas, which is why there's no additional loading time.
I see. But on the plus side, I didn't die to J2. Hooray!
Squall, you took my teetering spot from 2 weeks ago.
I'll go.
Crash, are you going to do this to everyone, regardless if you've ever teetered there at that point? You're just going to bully every single runner in the same spot?
At this point, it's all legitimate. People are taking my teeter spots.
I don't think that spot's taken.
So I guess Squall, it sounds like you're gonna get Dash next round.
Oh,
that might actually happen.
I better learn Orc's quick kill.
We can talk about the upcoming matches if the bracket's updated by this point.
Yeah, because this is the last race of this round. So as far as we don't have any more
we
races
saw
scheduled.
Races, but they're not scheduled yet since the bracket's about to be decided.
The bracket is live.
We can sell out our runners and commentators in the meantime. I'm going to do some links in the chat to follow the runners and to follow the commentators. The game is on sale for the N% tournament right now, so if it interests you, pick it up. I don't know how much it's on sale for, but it is really cheap, probably like $10 right now. Give it a shot if you like
25% off or something. Right, yeah, for the tournament. Solgren is a great guy, and he's excited about this tournament and put the game on sale for it, so give him your money. And he designed this wonderful video game, so yeah.
And to tell our runners what their next week matches are, just so they can be mentally prepared for them, CakeSauc, you're up against me. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I'm terrified. That's going to be the most intense race of the tournament as of yet.
I'm kind of not ready for that one.
And Squall, you're up against Dash.
Well, that'll be fun. I look forward to it. Yeah.
Yeah. Oof, that'll be interesting.
I really want to see you and Cake go at it, Shark. That'll be a really good race.
Well, we'll make sure to sell out and talk about all about race time once we have it scheduled. But for now, I'm about done for this. Anyone else got anything left to say?
Nah, I'm good.
Yeah, I got it. Thanks, everybody, including Speed Gaming and the runners of the tournament and everybody who's making it happen. So thanks very much, everybody, and we will see you on the next race.